Okay, we're hitting the end of the worksheet. It's input masks. Okay, whatever that is. Both questions involve input masks. Right. We've talked about restricting values. In other words, we can use validation rules. We can say the values must lie between here and there and all sorts of other things. But in some cases, our data must follow a particular format. Let's take something like the ID field as a very common example. Two things about an ID number. One is it's a number. Yeah, okay. Not earth shattering news. But it consists of 13 digits only. In other words, not 12, not 14, has to be 13 digits. In other words, numbers between 0 and 9. Now, the input mask is a way of specifying to access. Sorry, my chair's creaking, yeah? Of specifying that it must have 13 digits. Now, how do we do that? Let's go and have a look at the ID field. So, my value is still from last time. Okay, let's go back into design view, and the ID field is over here. We restricted it to 13. Remember that just says you can enter a maximum of 13 characters. The person could type in 13 letters now, and it would still work. Okay, and in fact, they could type in 5 letters and it would still work because the field size just restricts you from typing more than a certain number of characters. Right, the input mask. Okay, and it's a pattern that we're going to sort of specify. We're saying right, and the patterns are follows. There are a couple of new things you're going to have to learn here in this question and the next one. The way to specify that it must be a compulsory digit is to put a 0 in there. Okay, now it's not the digit 0, I'm going to put in 13 of them, so just count with me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now that's not a value in it on its own, it's an input mask, and when Access sees that, it says, okay, this person said there are 13 zeros there. That means that they want the person to type in 13 digits exactly, not less, not fewer. You can't type in letters, you can't type anything else, just the digits 0 to 13. Let's see how that works, or if it works. Data sheet view. So the table, yeah, that's fine. Okay, where were we with this ID? So let's just go right to the beginning. If you see, it's got a little line there, and that's always a telltale sign that it's an input mask. I'm at the beginning. I'm going to try and type some letters now. Yeah, I can get like quite a cool tune going here. Not really. Okay, but I can type in numbers, and so I will type in 98 0204 5098 Try and type in a letter. Still won't allow me. It's waiting for digits there. You can see it's waiting. So I'm going to finish this off. And there we go. It's going to make it a little bit wider so we can actually see what's going on with that field. And then we're on to the next one. So now that's very useful because by accident the person can't use the letter O instead of a 0, as many older typists might do because they're used to typing from a keyboard, or typewriter keyboard that is, and you can only enter digits, and there has to be 13. Again, it doesn't guarantee that the person is going to not going to type the digits in the wrong order, but all these little things are starting to combine to make it pretty robust in terms of that we're checking lots of little things, and every time we make a check, we're making our data more and more secure. So the way that we specified it in this case was to specify in the input mask a 0 represented a compulsory digit. In other words, the person, compulsory means you have to put it in. Okay, it's not optional, it's compulsory. You must do that. Let's look at the next one because this will really sum up it very nicely. Input mask for the division field for it's got to be 3 capital letters. Okay, so it's got to have 3 capital letters. We're not sure how to do that yet, but you can see, for example, these are examples of the codes. It's got to have 3 capital letters, and then it's followed by 2 digits. So it's got to be followed by 2 digits. I'm just going to highlight the 2 digits there. Looking quite psychedelic at this stage. And and an optional third digit. Okay. In other words, you may have, but you may not have. So in other words, there's a case where it does have. I'm going to make it in red because it's slightly different case that we've got there. So bottom line is, yeah, got to have 3 capital letters, got to have 2 compulsory digits, and then an optional digit. Now we know the compulsory digits, that's cool, they're zeros. But what's a compulsory letter? Okay, a compulsory letter is indicated by an L. Let's have a look to see how that works. Okay, so we are back into our design view, and we're looking at the division, and we are at an input mask. Okay, an input mask forces the person to type in a fixed number of characters and using a fixed pattern. Okay, in other words, they can't exceed a certain number, but we can have optional as we look at now. Okay, we said the first thing had to be 3 letters. So LLL represents a compulsory letter. Okay, not a digit. Then it's going to be a compulsory number. 2 compulsory numbers. So there must be three letters. So it's going to be like ABC or DEF or KLM or KFC or whatever you want to make it. And 2 digits. Now, how do I specify that it can be a digit? If there is something else, it can be, but it doesn't have to be there. Okay, that sounds a bit Irish. In other words, what we're saying is, let's put a 9 in there and explain what it means. That means that according to Access, when it sees that, it says, right, this person must type in 3 letters. They don't have a choice. Got to type in 2 digits. They don't have a choice. They then can type in another thing, and that thing, if they do type it in, has to be a digit from 0 to 9. Okay, please note that these 0 to 9s are different here. We're not talking about the numbers. So in other words, they could type in a 3 or a 4, whatever it happens to be. So capital L, so the L's represent compulsory letters, the zeros represent compulsory digits, and the 9 represents an optional digit. And to force the thing to be capitals, we put a greater than sign in front. So that says, right, anything that's in there needs to be in capitals. The less than sign, by the way, would make it lowercase. Okay. And why do you want them all to be uppercase? Why does it matter if it's lowercase or uppercase? Well, when we sort, it makes a difference if something's in alphabetical. We're trying to put things in alphabetical order. Capital A and small a are regarded as something different. Okay, so and also we'd like it to look standard so that it all looks nice and neat as well. So this person's got to type in 3 letters. Doesn't matter whether they try and type them in lowercase. We'll see what happens now. And they've got to put in 2 numbers, and then they can put in an extra number if they so wish. Okay, that's if they so wish. Okay, so that's the difference between them. So let's go and have a look to see how that works. Okay, and in datasheet view, yes, I do want to save the table, and we want to go to the division. Okay, you can see it's got an input mask there because you can see the line appears. Now the first thing was that it's looking for 3 letters. So I'm going to try and type in digits. Not happy. Okay, it's looking for a letter, and I'm going to make it lowercase. Okay, makes no difference. And G-A-T, gat. And right, now I'm going to try carry on typing some other letters. No, not, because it's expecting 2 compulsory digits now. So I'll put in a 6 and an 8. And now there's a possibility of putting in another character or another something. Okay, can it be a letter? No, it can't. But it can be a digit. Does it have to be in? No, it doesn't. So, in other words, I don't have to put it in, but I can. Let's take another one where, okay, let's make it cat. Really thinking up some imaginative names tonight. And we'll make that 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and that's also acceptable because the rule or the pattern that we put in said there must be 3 compulsory letters, 2 compulsory digits, and an optional digit. Just to remind ourselves again what it looks like. Greater than sign meaning make everything uppercase. L's capitals, L's letters, compulsory letters. 0 is compulsory digits, 9 an optional digit. Okay, you might want to ask at this stage what an optional letter is. An optional letter would be an A. We'll see if we come up with an example with that one a bit later. But those are the main ones that you need to use. Okay, and you'll get a little bit of practice in that in this worksheet.